Data are classified as primary data and secondary data. Primary data include information collected from an original source of data, which is first-hand in nature. On the other hand, secondary data include information collected from published or unpublished sources such as books, newspapers, and theses. There are different methods of collecting data. We have the direct or interview method, the indirect or questionnaire method, the registration method, the observation method, and experimentation. The direct or interview method is a person-to-person interaction between an interviewee and interviewer. Tape-recorded or written interviews will help the researcher obtain exact information from the interviewee. Precise and consistent answers can be obtained by modifying or rephrasing the questions, especially to illiterate respondents or to children under study. However, it is time, money, and effort-consuming, and it will be applicable only for small population, except when conducting a census. The second method is the indirect or questionnaire method. It is an alternative method for the interview method. Written responses are obtained by distributing questionnaires, which is a list of questions intended to elicit answers to a given problem. It must be given in a logical order and not too personal. Lesser time, money, and efforts are consumed. On the other hand, many responses may not be consistent due to the poor construction of the questionnaire. The meaning of the questions may be different from each respondent. Inconsistent responses can no longer be modified. Thus, it reduces a valid number of respondents. The third method is the registration method, which is enforced by private organizations or government agencies for recording purposes. Organized data from an institution can serve as ready references for future study or personal claims of people's records. However, problem arises only when an agency doesn't have a management information system and if the system or process of registration is not implemented well. The fourth method is the observation method. It is a scientific method of investigation that makes use of all senses to measure or obtain outcomes or responses from the object of the study. It is usually applied to respondents that cannot be asked or cannot speak, especially when behaviors of persons or culture of organization or performance outcomes of employees or students are to be considered. However, subjectivity of information sought cannot be avoided. The last method is experimentation. It is used when the objective is to determine the cause and effect of a certain phenomenon under some controlled conditions. There is objectivity of information since a scientific method of inquiry is used. An equal number of respondents with relatively similar characteristics are being examined to obtain the different effects of something applied to the experimental group. However, it is too difficult to find respondents with almost similar characteristics. The whole method must be repeated if the desired outcome is not reached.